Is that really what's going on now?
That's
we have
pretty
so
much
much natural gas.
Yeah.
We actually are literally physically running out of places to put it.
No, you hit that. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, basically, what's happening is we have this gigantic glut of production in the U.S., which has just been a boon for homeowners who are heating their homes with natural gas. I mean, we're seeing the lowest prices in 10 years. On the other hand, a lot of producers and storage companies in this business are starting to look ahead later in the year, and they're starting to scratch their heads and say, holy smokes, we might actually run out of room to put this stuff. There's so much of it. So it's going to have some big consequences in this market.
No, I mean, it seems to me that if that's how much we have, this really shouldn't be a problem. You just stop pumping it until you need it. And, But I mean, is it a matter of there's so much demand for natural gas? There's more demand than there is storage capacity, and that's what's hurting these guys?
No, that's part of the problem, actually, is that demand has been so weak this year. We had this tremendously mild winter that we're just coming off of, and since one of the main uses of natural gas is to heat homes and offices, and people just weren't doing that this winter, so nobody was using natural gas. Production has been through the roof, and inventories are going to start growing through the summer, and what might happen is we run up with this problem in the fall where we simply run out of room, and there's no place to put the stuff.
So what are some of the big companies doing? I mean, a lot are cutting back production, I assume. Like, what are some of the other?
Actually, not that many are cutting back on production. There's only been a couple of production cuts that have been announced. Chesapeake, which is the #2 biggest producer in the U.S., they've announced some very modest production cuts. ConocoPhillips also has announced even smaller production cuts. The biggest problem with cutting production, though, is that natural gas is produced not just in dedicated gas wells, but it's also a byproduct of oil production, of other production of other types of energy. So, I mean, really, you're going to get gas no matter where you drill, and you got to do something with it. So even if you're a gas company, you say, okay, well, I'm going to drill oil instead of gas because oil's at $105 a barrel right now. Those oil wells are still going to give you gas. So
do they just fire off the gas?
Well, if you can't, if there's literally nowhere to put it, that's an option. I mean, it's not a popular option. People don't like to see that, but that's always an option. Another option when things get very serious is you simply turn off the pumps. So that's something that you might see happening later this year, and you might also just see people jamming more gas into the pipelines and things like that. What you definitely will see is prices falling very sharply, even from
where they are. Even from where they're down around like $2.30, $2.40.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
we're touching the low $2. And keep in mind, in 2008, natural gas was above $13 per million British thermal units. So I mean, this is a huge fall. I mean, it's almost unprecedented.
That was going to be my next question. Is that have we ever seen anything like this before? And is there a comparable time frame where a similar sort of situation took place?
Actually, in 2009, we saw something similar where we had production starting to grow throughout the year, and around the fall we came very close to hitting maximum capacity in terms of storage. Now what happened is the market was saved that year by the really cold winter that set in, and you saw a big pickup in gas demand, and it just cleaned out the storage. I mean, just cleaned it out.
This has been the exact opposite.
This is why we had this very mild winter. Some early forecasts are calling for also a pretty mild summer, so you won't see a lot of air conditioning demand, and that's also where a lot of natural gas use comes from.
So this doesn't sound like a problem at all for the consumer.
No, it's great. No, it
doesn't sound like a problem at all for the
terrific.
consumer. I might have to switch to natural gas.
Yeah, and even power plants are starting to switch from coal to natural gas, seeing how cheap it is.
Yeah.
So and if you get your power from one of those places, it's great.